Welcome to the Sarasota County Eldercare channel, brought to you by Mike Levine and the great folks of Home Instead Senior Care of South Sarasota County. Today's guest is Jonathan Baker, estate planning attorney with the firm James W. Mallonee, PA.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann Gordon from Home Instead in Venice, Florida. Welcome to the South Sarasota County Eldercare channel. Today I'm here with Jonathan Baker from the law firm of James W. Mallonee here in Venice, Florida. For all the viewers out there, any information that's given cannot be construed as legal advice. Okay, this is for informational and educational purposes only. If you need to speak with a lawyer, please contact the lawyer of your choice in your area. So, Jonathan, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Marianne. How are you?
Great, and thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We want to talk about some estate planning. So let's start at the basic level. What is a will and who needs a will?
A will is a document that's signed by a property owner and it's witnessed by two individuals according to Florida law. It's something that will dispose of your property. You can also indicate that you'd like to have your body addressed and taken care of a certain way in your will as well. And if you want to make a what I call an uncommon disposition of your property, not to your children, maybe to a friend, you'll need a will in order to do that.
All right. So who needs a will? Pretty much everyone that has property, or?
I would say that everyone needs a will, because a will does things in addition to what I've just said that are good for everyone, such as designating a personal representative. Okay. If a person has more than one beneficiary or child and they do not designate a personal representative, then those beneficiaries will need to determine amongst themselves who's going to be running the show, and that can create some conflicts. So it's good to avoid that.
Yeah, and I guess that's probably what we're doing with a will. We just want everything laid out so there's no question about what our wishes are.
Absolutely.
All right, so a lot of people get afraid of wills because they say, oh, if I have a will, I've got to go through probate. What's going on with probate? What is it?
So probate is the judicial process that involves transferring legal title from property that a deceased person owned into the names of their heirs if they do not have a will, or their beneficiaries if they do have one. It can be a summary process in Florida, or it can be a formal process depending on the amount of assets and what kind of assets are involved. The formal process involves an inventory and a final accounting, but the summary process is much shorter and can save money sometimes.
All right. So I've heard of some other forms that can be used to distribute my property after I die, and one is a trust. What am I looking at when I'm looking at a trust?
A trust is an agreement between someone who owns property and a trustee, that trustee will hold that property for the benefit of those beneficiaries, and the trustee owes fiduciary duties as an agent of those beneficiaries, which is a significant responsibility.
Okay, so the trustee, if I have a trust, can the trustee be my spouse?
Yes.
Okay.
The trustee can be your spouse.
Or my child,
yes.
Or something? Okay, so I have to choose a trustee then?
Yes, the trustee can even be you if you want it to be
in a
revocable trust.
All right. So what's the advantage of having a trust versus a will?
So some people go for a trust because they think that it may avoid probate, and it's not always the case. But there's other reasons for a trust, and those can be that you have a child that maybe is not so financially responsible or good with money, or you have a disabled child, or sometimes trusts are used in regard to the federal estate tax to reduce that burden.
Okay, and so are there disadvantages to a will? I mean, pretty much.
In my opinion, there are not a lot of disadvantages to a will if a person is not subject to the federal estate tax, or there are not those issues I just mentioned with the children.
Okay.
But as far as a trust, I think that some of the disadvantages there are that homestead cannot always be properly passed through a trust. It will involve sometimes a petition to determine that that property is homestead so that the court can apply creditor protection to that home and also to descend the title properly to the beneficiaries.
All right. You get so much information nowadays and it's hard to discern, which is why I have you here to educate our viewers. What is the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust?
All right, good question.
Okay.
An irrevocable trust, I like to think of as like a wind-up toy. When you create an irrevocable trust, you set the terms and you give that property to a trustee, and once you do like a wind-up toy, you told it what to do, and now you let it go. And it goes on and does whatever it wants wherever it goes. Now, not just whatever, it has to follow the terms of the trust, but the property owner, say that's me, does not have control over some of the discretionary decisions of that trustee. That's an irrevocable trust. Cannot be revoked by the person who has created it. A revocable trust, on the other hand, more often used in estate planning, is to have the property owner also be the trustee during his or her life, and it allows you to revoke or amend that trust during the life of the person who created it.
Okay. I'm just going to end with one final question, because we talked about the personal representative of a will. That's the person that takes care of everything that I want in my will after I die, and then the trustee who takes care or holds the property for the beneficiaries when a trust is created. How do you go about picking those agents that work for you? Any tips on that?
Well, I say it has to be someone that you trust inherently with your property, and if you make any healthcare decisions, someone that you trust inherently with that as well. For many people, it will usually be their spouse during their life, and then a child, if they have children, or a very, very, very close friend.
Okay. Well, Jonathan Baker, thank you very much for being with us today. Truly informative, very informative for our viewers. And again, this is not legal advice. This is for education and information purposes alone. I'm Marianne Gordon with Home Instead in Venice, Florida. On behalf of the Eldercare channel, thank you for watching.